A woman carefully approached the glass door, where a beautiful Mormon appeared in front of her. The two stared at each other through the glass. The Mormon was visibly wounded. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening startled him. The Mormon immediately vanished from sight. However, this creature possessed powers of regeneration and immortality. Even when shot directly in the heart, he could simply touch the wound and it would heal. To uncover the secrets of his powers, the US military captured the creature and transported him to a classified base. A large water tank inside the base caught Elisa's attention. Curious, she stepped closer to take a look. Before Elisa could figure out what was going on, she was hurriedly escorted out. But she didn't mind. This base was full of strange and fascinating things. Elisa was mute. Her physical disability had confined her to a small and quiet world. Her only friends were her aging partner, neighbor, Gilles, and a chatty co-worker, Zelda. Her job was simple. She was responsible for cleaning the base. From the team leader, Richard, Elisa learned about the origins of the creature. But the blood left on Richard's electric baton gave her a bad feeling. Then came a loud and terrifying roar. Elisa saw Richard stagger out of the lab, covered in blood. He was quickly rushed to emergency care. Elisa and Zelda were sent to clean the scene. Seeing blood everywhere, the two were at loss for what to do. As Elisa was washing the floor, she noticed two severed fingers sliding out of under a cabinet. Zelda was so frightened, she ran off to call for help. Elisa, on the other hand, calmly placed the finger into a paper bag. Meanwhile, strange noises came from the water tank nearby. Inside, the fish-like creature could be seen. When Elisa saw the wounds on his body, she realized Richard had done this. But before they could interact further, the staff returned and interrupted them. Elisa immediately handed over the severed fingers as a token of gratitude for retrieving them. Richard assigned Elisa and Zelda to handle the lab's cleaning duties. From that moment on, Elisa began visiting the lab frequently. One day, she took out a hard-boiled egg. She gently tapped it. The sound immediately attracted the creature's attention from underwater. The Mormon slowly peeked his head above the surface, then swam to the edge and stood upright. Seeing how wary he was, Elisa carefully placed the egg down. She then made a hand gesture. The Mormon picked up the egg and disappeared beneath the water. This brief exchange marked a turning point in their relationship. From then on, Elisa visited him regularly. Each time, she brought a hard-boiled egg she had prepared in advance. She would play soft music and patiently wait for him to appear. As time passed and they spent more moments together, these two extraordinary souls formed a bond of friendship. Their secret interaction was witnessed by Dr. Bernard. He immediately realized the creature wasn't some primitive beast, but a sentient, intelligent life form. The next day, when Elisa returned to visit, she was horrified to find the creature bound in chains, his entire body covered in bruises and open wounds. Clearly, he had just endured brutal torture. As footsteps approached from the hallway, Elisa quickly hid behind the equipment. Richard then entered, holding an electric baton, and began shocking the creature again and again, clearly seeking revenge for losing his fingers. Meanwhile, military superiors arrived for inspection, but their only concern was the experiment's progress. They showed no sympathy for the creature's pain. When Richard requested permission to dissect the creature, the officers agreed without hesitation. But Dr. Bernard strongly objected. He insisted that the creature shouldn't be killed. The officer dismissed his concerns entirely, calling the dissection an excellent scientific opportunity. Upon learning this, Elisa made up her mind to rescue the creature. She rushed home and sought help from her neighbor, Gilles. As a mute woman, she had very few trusted friends, and Gilles was one of the few who always supported her. Elisa explained her plan to Gilles, asking him to help break the creature out. She then returned to the lab and secretly disabled the surveillance cameras. Gilles disguised himself as a sanitation worker and headed to the back gate. But when Elisa entered the lab and saw the heavy chains, she didn't know how she could even break them. Thankfully, Dr. Bernard arrived just in time. Compassionate at heart, he too didn't want to see the creature die. He quickly handed her the keys and briefed her on the creature's needs and how to safely care for him. Just as the plan began to unfold, Elisa was stopped by Zelda as she exited. Zelda tried to talk to her out of doing something so reckless. Meanwhile, Gilles was caught at the gate. His forged ID had been flagged by security. Fortunately, Bernard had anticipated this. He triggered a time explosive, destroying the power box, and then used a sedative to knock out the guard. Zelda realized she couldn't stop Elisa, so she chose to help her friend instead. Together, They loaded the creature into the car by the time Strickland and his men arrived. The group had already driven away. Back home, Elisa filled the bathtub with water. Then she gently placed the creature inside. Seeing him still in pain, she suddenly remembered he needed salt water. She quickly grabbed a container of table salt and poured it into the tub. Watching the creature finally relax, Elisa let out a long sigh of relief. She marked a date on her calendar. It was the day the canal would open to the sea, the day she planned to set him free. The next morning, Elisa went to work as usual, and Zelda had clocked her in early, so the two successfully avoided any suspicion from their boss. Meanwhile, at home, Gills was supposed to be watching over the creature, but he had dozed off. The creature quietly slipped out of the tub and wandered in the living room. Everything here was new and fascinating to him, especially the cat sitting nearby. Hunger overwhelmed him. By the time Gills woke up, he saw the creature gnawing on his cat. He yelled in shock and anger, startling the creature. The frightened being bolted, accidentally scratching Gills' arm in the process. When Elisa returned home, she found Gil slumped on the floor in despair. Ignoring his injury, he urged her to go find the creature quickly. Following the trail of wet handprints down the stairs, Elisa eventually found him, hiding in an empty movie theater. After running away, the creature had stayed there, silently watching films. Back at home, the creature seemed to realize his mistake. He gently placed his hand on top of Gil's head. Suddenly, a soft blue glow shimmered from his body. Gills didn't think much of it at first, but the next morning, he was stunned to find hair growing over his bald scalp. When he removed the bandage from his hand, the wound had completely healed. Just as he was processing this miracle, the landlord's angry voice echoed from the hallway. Water was leaking from Elisa's apartment. Inside, she had turned on the faucet and stuffed towels under the door. Then, after making a silent gesture to the creature, as the water filled the bathroom, the two embraced underwater. Streams trickled down from the ceiling into the room below. Gills noticed something was off and rushed upstairs. Fearing the worst, he opened Elisa's door, only to witness the two of them holding each other in the submerged room. Gills wasn't shocked. He quietly closed the door. The good times, however, didn't last. Because the creature had been out of seawater for too long, his scales began to peel off. Worse yet, he started coughing up blood in large amounts. Realizing the severity of his condition, Elisa knew she had to return him to the ocean as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Richard, determined to recapture the amphibian, had been investigating in secret. He assaulted Dr. Bernard and forced the truth out of him. That's when he learned Elisa had helped the creature escape. But when Richard arrived at Elisa's home, it was already empty. Furious and frustrated, he suddenly noticed the calendar on the wall. It was marked with a date, and that detail caught his attention. By the time, Gills and Elisa had already brought the creature to the canal dock. After a quiet farewell, Gills gave them a moment alone. He stepped aside to let Elisa and the creature say their goodbyes. Just as Gills was falling into despair, the creature's body began to emit a soft blue glow again. A moment later, he came back to life. Under Gills' stern gaze, the creature slowly rose to his feet. He gently lifted Elisa into his arms. Then, without hesitation, he turned and jumped into the ocean with her. Cradling the woman who had saved him, he kissed her tenderly. As the blue glow shimmered around them, Elisa came back to life. The 3 scars on her neck began to transform into gills. Elisa, who was born mute and shunned by her co-workers, represents people with disabilities who are often isolated by the society. The amphibian man symbolizes those who are different, those who don't fit the norms. And thence there is Elisa's true identity. The film leaves subtle clues throughout. There are 3 scars on her neck, which she had since birth. She was found abandoned in water as an infant. She loves placing her hat against the car window, listening to the sound that reminds her of the sea. These small moments hint at who really she is. Rather than starting it outright, the director chooses to express it poetically. He wraps a social commentary inside a sci-fi fairy tale. Each character reflects the longing to be seen, the hunger for freedom, and the courage to fight for one's truth. It's not just a story of love and rescue, it's a meditation of humanity's yearning for beauty and peace. If you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. Thanks for watching.